In this video lesson, we will learn how to multiply complex numbers. So we've already learned the basics of complex numbers and how to add them. So now it's time to multiply. So let's just start with an example. Let's say we got 1 plus 2i and we want to multiply it by -1 plus 3i. So what's the trick here? There's a way of thinking about this that will help make sense. This expression that I just wrote down is very similar to 1 plus 2x times -1 plus 3x. And this expression with the x's, we can just FOIL. Well, the trick is that x or I, it doesn't really matter. We can FOIL anyway. So to multiply these two complex numbers, we're just going to use FOIL. But there's going to be one added twist, and I'll show you what I mean later. So first we have 1 times -1. Those are the first terms. Then the outer terms, 1 and 3i. So we get 1 times 3i plus inner terms, 2i times -1. And then the last terms, that's 2i times 3i. Alright, so this is equal to -1 plus 3i minus 2i, and then 2i times 3i, I'm going to write it separately first, because it's not very clear what this is equal to, but I'll explain now. 2i times 3i is 6i squared. And I squared is going to be equal to -1. Because remember, I is the sort of letter representation of the square root of -1. They're the same thing. So if you square I, you get -1. So instead of 2i times 3i, we will write down -6. So now we just finish this up. We get -1 minus 6 is -7 plus 3i minus 2i is just I. So I get -7 plus I, and that's going to be the answer. Alright, let's do another example. Let's say we have 2 minus 2i times 3 plus I. We do the same thing. We just FOIL it out. So 2 times 3, then 2 times I, and then -2i times 3, and then -2i times I. And this is going to be equal to 6 plus 2i minus 6i, and then again we have this imaginary number times imaginary number with the i's, and it's just going to be -2 times I squared. And again, I squared will be -1. So this simplifies to 6 minus 4i plus -2 times -1. I'm going to put these parentheses around the -2, just a good idea. And this is equal to 6 minus 4i plus 2. Two negatives cancel. Alright, so now we're ready to finish this up. The final answer is going to be 8 minus 4i. And that's just how you multiply two complex numbers together. So I'm going to summarize the two important steps now at the end. The first step is just to FOIL like you would as normal, and the second step is to replace I squared with -1. Well, that's all. Thank you for watching this video lesson. I hope you found it helpful.